What's up, gente? Another episode of the Milpa Show. And thank you so much for being here today with us. And hopefully you're taking care of yourselves. With that, I'm going to pass it to my co-host to go ahead and introduce our guest today.
Yeah, I hope everybody's having a great day. I am especially having our amazing guest today, Rob from Masa4TheRaza. He's doing a lot of great work within the community. Neta, like you do a lot, you know what I mean? And we're going to be talking about bits of it today, talking about what it is that you do in terms of highlighting our local community, right? And so, for one, I see you as a news reporter, but for you, like, what's some things that you want to share about yourself that you want our community to know about you?
You know what? I've always even asked people, like, what do you think of seeing me? Because I don't even know myself. But overall, just to put it on a nutshell, for many years, I've always volunteered my services and kind of in a different way, in a sense, kind of always seeing what can I fill in, what gap needs to be filled in. And doing that, it just kind of led me to doing this podcast. Started off as just a simple food blog kind of a deal. And then I felt that I just needed to do more. And it's just led me to great people here in Salinas. I just wanted to highlight Salinas. I wanted artists, highlight so many awesome people that I've bumped into. You guys, shoot.
Do you have any immediate shout outs that you want to share with anybody, any people that want to shout out, or even how could we find some of your own podcast? How could we find some of your own content?
Well, I'm mainly on Masa4TheRaza. That's MASA, the number 4, THERAZA on Instagram. My Instagram is pretty much the go-to. I have Facebook and Twitter, but honestly, Instagram is the go-to. I also, you can find me on any kind of podcast platform, but mainly Instagram, and everyone knows that Instagram because it kind of formed into I don't know, just playing around with everything, just having fun with it, interviewing people, and if you see the Instagram, it's just super scattered, and I don't mind it because it's kind of experimenting with the platform keeps on changing, things keep on changing. So let's have fun with it. Let's play with it. And not only that, it allowed me to get people involved, just have something to do. I remember we had, getting a booth and, inviting you, and we just doing something. And I think that's one of the things that I love about this is that it's not really trying to make a name and trying to be this product or whatever it is. It's really just an open door to meet people that want to do things, and there's a lot of people that are hungry to do things, and it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, Rosario and I came to know you through your own community involvement. So it's amazing to see that, a lot of people know you because all the things that you are actually doing within our own communities. And you really are also like a bridge for us to be connected. And I think you see a lot of the amazing, promising individuals within our community before any of us really realize it within ourselves. And I think what would be like some things that you have seen or some things you're proud of based off like your own experience, being in like those local events, local community gatherings. Is there anything that you are really proud of? Anything that you see that really encourages you to keep doing what you're doing?
You know what? That's why like it's really, I'm very grateful for people kind of like, thanking me and all this. And it's crazy when you volunteer your services and when you do stuff, you don't realize that you are actually the biggest gift is like what I'm learning off of all of you. Being surrounded by great people. I'm just, when the podcast, I'm just giving you a mic, and I just want to say that you're valuable. Your story is valuable. Everybody's story is valuable, and a lot of people don't realize that. I think even myself, I still deal with, and I can definitely relate to so many people that don't have that. They don't see their potentials. People can tell you, but there's always that. For some reason, there's always that. Talking in your ears, and you don't believe it and you don't accept it. And I understand that, and I feel that. So within that, like I had a, even within myself, I had to realize, okay, you know, I've been doing good stuff, and now seeing people and seeing that, especially when I came here in Salinas and seeing everybody's potential, and I'm like, I really wanted to, like, you know, just shake people up and say, hey, dude, you guys are awesome, and I keep on saying that, but it is that lack of understanding that there is potential. But I understand too that within society, you got to have to look better, and then, you know, even with TV, with everything, you have to be up here already, you know, and you can't make your mistakes, and everybody's so scared. Even till this day, people are still. And I realized my purpose. I really feel like my purpose, even a purpose in life, was simply, if it was simply that you can say, if Rob can do it, I can do it, you know. And it's nothing to put myself down. It's really the fact that, you know, if he can do it, like, I know I can do this, you know. It's that little push, and that's my whole purpose, is just giving that little push. There's a project you want to do, shoot, let's do it, let's try it out, let's make mistakes, you know. I've made millions and millions of mistakes, millions of boo-boos, you know, and, you know, misspellings and all of these, but I'm having fun with it. And this is what's the great thing about it at the end. I'm just having a good time. I'm meeting a lot of great people. And that's where, I mean, that's where I realize, like, financially, that's not, money. I'm not planning to get rich off of this. And I don't expect to, but you know, what I get rewarded is just being surrounded by great people, and that influences me, and that actually molds me even better. So
Muchas
yeah.
gracias, Rob, for sharing all of what you're sharing, just being in the space with us. And I feel for myself, the first time I kind of saw you on Instagram was, I think you were doing an interview with Filthy, Mr. Filthy. So shout out to him. And so it was really cool to see that people in Salinas and in a lot of different cities, but in Salinas in particular, there's a heavy emphasis on, like, Masa, like you put on Masa, anything for Salinas, right? Like being able to highlight the people from the 831, from Salinas, local artists, different venues, different places, right? And so that's really beautiful to see that. Another thing that I was going to say is that I was speaking with a colleague earlier, and he was, as people may know, a lot of the people within MILPA are formerly incarcerated. And one of the things that my colleague said was that when you're incarcerated, there's no mirrors. There's no chance for you to see yourself as a human being, to see yourself in general, right? And so the work that you're doing is so key and so important, giving the mic to people, highlighting people, like letting them know, hey, you're awesome, right? And so for yourself, and maybe this is why you're doing what you're doing, but what do you feel we need more of in the mainstream media or in the media in general? Or what tools, like, what is your ultimate, like, kind of goal or vision with the work that you're doing with Masa, in particular for the youth, for the people of Salinas? How will you know, okay, I'm really, like, you're already doing something really important, but what is kind of like that next level type of thinking that you feel like, I want to do this, I want to strive for this?
Well, as far as the whole Masa thing, you know, Masa means music, art, social topics, anything local. So I want to make sure that I still continue to bring that, and that's why I kind of broke it to the talking Masa. That way I can get more in depth on you know, especially right now that there's a lot of issues going on. But my thing, I think, it's always just giving that encouragement. Really, that's it. That's my only purpose. Well, my main purpose um to, if I see somebody out there that wants to do something, and it's always something financially, or if it's just that encouragement or that doubt, and I'm like, oh, you're having doubt in your head, like, you know, that push. So just constantly just meeting people, highlighting them. I'm very blessed that now it has became a platform, and I worked very hard for that platform to be mostly local. So I think it's about 2,600, but those, I think it's about 70%. Last time I checked, was from Salinas. And then you have Watsonville, and you got probably two people from Hayward. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. And you know, but my thing is, um just to continue that, is just to give that little push, because uh, uh, especially like, you know, with the podcast, I love that there's more podcasts happening, and if I can offer anything, I will offer it. And the thing is that it's not a competitive thing. It is really like we're all helping each other out. You're learning something, I can learn off of, you know, we're all learning off of each other, and that's how it grew. You know, I grew up in, you know, in the early 2000s, and you know, some of the 90s, and I remember it was always outdoing somebody, and that's where it was kind of, you know, you got to be the top. And I know it still kind of lingers around still, but more and more that I'm seeing these groups get together and they're doing stuff together, helping each other, encouraging. So I really, really wish, and I think that was something that, like, growing up, I really wish I had that, you know. I really, you know, but and that's why I think, you know, that's my biggest purpose, that I do, you know, if I'm able to just whatever, here's a mic, here's, you know, that's the biggest things. As far as the incarcerations, and they're not seeing the mirror, you know, it is, um I think, one of the things that I've learned is that we cannot expect somebody to help out so much. We always have to kind of like help each other out. And that's why and what I mean by, you know, we're all helping each other out. Yeah, I'm seeing these groups getting together, that can relate, with each other. You know, even this milpas right here, you know, it's not going to relate to everybody, but it's going to relate to a demographic that, like, you know, like, I watch it, you know, I'm a fan, and it's needed. It's definitely needed. So I don't know. It's just a beautiful thing. And now I'm just ranting on. I have no idea what I'm saying. I don't know.
I appreciate it. And I think every word that you're saying is really good reflection of like what our community needs, you know. And I think
Mhm.
you yourself is a good model of, you know, what is it that we need, you know. You definitely go out to like really acknowledge the talent, acknowledge the voices, acknowledge everybody that's within their own communities. And I feel like that's something that even some of our politicians may lack, you know. And you do that to a great extent, where you do that without having, you know, without any monetary that's the influence or anything like that. So
Mhm.
there's that purity of like what you're doing is really amazing. And I was just wondering, like, what would be like some ways that some other folks can really continue doing their talents, you know, through podcasts and other ways to really further our voices, right? To really get other politicians, other you know, people that are in power, you know, quote unquote, to really listen to our voices and really to hear out what is that we need within our communities.
I think, first you start off with your community, and you get that um, following base, and then within that, you know, you slowly start networking. So, for example, I started here in Salinas, highlighted Salinas, but if you notice, I even highlight a bit of Watsonville. I highlight a little bit of San Jose. The reason why is because I first wanted to show people, you know, I wanted to have a collection of people of, like, you know, what's happening in Salinas. And then my next step with that is basically having people from Watsonville look over here, and San Jose look over here. But, you know, I got to give them some love too. And having that realization, there's a similarity. You know, I never realized how much Watsonville there's similarity. You know, I was living in San Jose for 15 years, and I wanted to say, hey, look over here, kind of a deal. I still got to tap into Hollister, but and Hayward, so you better hook me up, Raza. Um, and that's pretty much it. Just slowly work off where you know, and then, like I said, especially right now that, you know, with the social media, you can find those people that are everywhere that you can relate or you can link to, and that's it. Just a constant networking, and helping each other out, networking. You know, don't be afraid that, oh, this person up in LA, and I remember living in Greenfield, like, oh, Salinas was the big brother, and San Jose, like, oh damn, and we feel like we couldn't, you know, for some reason, you know, as a little, you know, kid mentality, just, oh man, I can't mess with them because I'm this little Greenfield dude, and it's like, nah, man. we're at a time that we can just link up with anybody, and that's one of the things that I noticed. What helped me out is I just literally just, hey, how you doing, man? Or that was pretty awesome. Not being embarrassed to talk. You know, what's the worst thing to do? Not pay attention, or just not acknowledge. Not acknowledge you, or or get rejected. But I think that was the biggest thing for me. It was just reaching out and giving that, those little words of affirmation. Like, dude, that was a cool episode, man. That was an awesome episode. That means a lot, you know. And even that, like, I'll get it. Even for me, if I get that, like, I could give it out, but then I get it, I'm like, oh, yeah, you're welcome. It's hard to accept, but it's still good to have, because it's that little affirmation, and you don't realize, like, probably that person needed that boost, you know. And then vámonos, here we go again. Let's start doing another episode,
It's actually pretty cool to know that you're from Greenfield, because our episode 2 is South County Blues, and we actually interviewed people from 2 people from Greenfield, and so they kind of Bobby Joe, who's one of the Milpa interns, and Ramon Jesus Fragoso, who has been part of Milpa youth activities. And so it's interesting to hear from them that, growing up in Greenfield, they never felt like it's just this mentality of like, who cares, or we don't care, or nothing's going to change. It's always going to be the same. And so learning it from you, that you're from Greenfield, maybe you had that same mentality, right? And so slowly people are coming together in Greenfield and in different places all over. People are organizing, and the very thing that you said is the communication aspect, right? Being able to just reach out randomly and say, hey, good job, or I really like this, or having the courage to start your own project that you have in mind, right? And so it takes a lot to do that, because it means that you're putting yourself out there. And I can tell you from personal experience that I come from a family that we didn't communicate. Horrible shit would happen, and we would sweep it under the rug, pretend it didn't happen, and then go on about our lives when we still had the hurt inside of what had happened, right? And so I think the same way translates into the real world of, we're not able to stay simple. We're not able to have simple conversations of, hey, how are you doing? Well, I'm actually depressed or anxious, and okay, I can help you deal with this. This is what it's just it's a conversation that, and as humans, we need that. But I guess going back to what you're saying, again, what you're doing is so key, is creating that platform, creating that space, and even giving yourself the space to hopefully honor yourself and accept the praise. Like, it can be difficult. I can tell you, it can be very difficult, because it's like, I'm not doing shit. Like, oh, who cares? Like, whatever. Right. But you are doing something really key. And so my question for you is, the city and the county budgets, they're going to be reopening in October. And so for you, what do you feel like we need to invest in? What do you really feel like we should be telling the city and the county of Monterrey? What do they need to invest in? How should they shape their budget?
Well, I mean, now, I know that also, like, they're ready for a new mayor. They're ready for a new council. Man, they're ready. So my thing is, I'm ready to vote to bring in new blood. What I mean by that is just, I think within, not even just the city, but within the world, there's this transition with the old mind and the new mind set, in a sense. So I see that there's a couple of candidates that are coming in, and I'm just waiting in order to see if they come in hopes that they can bring this wave of, of basically a wave of people that we know right now, that you guys are fighting. Everybody's fighting and wanting some change and I kind of call them the good old boys. There's that still continuously bring don't make no changes in a sense. So my thing is that I think before I can even talk about what budgets, what's this, it's just that we definitely need to get the right people to make those decisions. If not, it's just going to be constantly quiet. And that's one of the methods that I've noticed, is that they talk about something, especially if you hear, like, if you go and I've been lately watching the YouTube and seeing all the meetings with the council members, and if they don't want to address it, they just stay quiet and then let it fly through. So like I said, there is some people that are coming in, and I'm hopefully that they come in uh, with the mindset that we have, that we want this change, and they can bring it up to the table, because I can wish so many things, but if you guys don't try to even pick a vote or even address it, and then it's just worthless. But definitely, I think one of the biggest things, and this is something I'm being affected by, is the housing is one of the things. There's a way of separating families, and the housing prices I'm seeing right now. I'm even trying to see if I can really live here, uh, because or even other generations that are coming in, like you know their future is already like doomed before they even reach that where they can try to get a home, because they're already setting plans to have these houses that are just so expensive, so expensive. And you already know the Bay Area is just off the hook. And so that's my biggest thing. I think uh, waiting for this new blood to come in order to make some changes, and then from there on, I know housing, just the basics. I mean, I remember one time I was going to one of these meetings, and they were talking about, well, what do you want to see in the park? You want lights and all that? They're like, no, we just want, like, can we like clean it? Can we have put some light bulbs, like the essential stuff? Bring like just the plain essential stuff. So I think really it's just to I think right now, especially, that there's these new groups coming in, and they're pushing these issues. I really am happy to see that. Matter of fact, they wanted to bring in a council member, and I don't want to go too deep. That they were like, "Oh no, this is going to be a problem," but the people spoke, and they made a change, and that's the thing. That's I really great. I'm really happy for this younger generation, that they're I don't know if I can say it, but some chingones. Yeah, they really
Yeah.
have guts and courage, and I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what we found within one another, right? When we start like validating one another, like how you mentioned earlier, is when we start learning that que sí se puede, right? That we could really uplift one another, push each other into like those spaces of power, right? Where we could actually make the change, especially within those spaces. I think we could actually make more movidas than we usually could from the outside, right? And so, I really appreciate everything that you've been sharing in terms of how to take action, the important ways to other important ways to really take into account, in which we actually have the power to change things as well, such as voting and advocating for certain candidates as well. I think I have one last question. I don't know if you want to follow it up, Rosa, with another one. But my last question is, like, what are some more sort of advice that you have for others that also are creative minds, that you see all these things that needs to be changed, and oftentimes this is a marathon, right? This is something that is ongoing. We often take this baggage, right? This emotional baggage from our community. Once we start realizing all the things that are harming us, within our own communities or within our own values. So, what are some ways for us that are creative individuals, right, to continue on using our creativity to further create change, or even for those that aren't so creative but have other skills? What are other ways that for them to partake in this activism?
First of all, just don't beat yourself up on it. That's one of the worst enemy is going to be yourself. Always having that second thought, that doubt. Oh my gosh, how embarrassing, or whatever it is. Like I mentioned before, I made so much mistakes, and I continue making mistakes. But I continue going, because I know that it's just like, okay, well, like I said, on to the next thing. And I'm to the point that, like, it's kind of, for me, I even laugh about it now, because, and I even make the best out of it, because I have what I call my grammar police, and they send out a text, hey, you spell, oh yeah, thank you, police. And then we build a friendship out of it. So don't beat yourself up. That's the one of the biggest things. Um because if you think about it now, you're really being in a sense, it's kind of like, think about it like, are you trying to be self-centered in a sense, like, you know, everyone's really worried, like, oh no, it's just you're doing your best. Don't worry about what everyone's saying, in a sense, and that really is, it's simple as that. And also, um you know, do your you know, like, just have fun with it. um and I'm speaking of what I'm doing, you know, I'm having fun with it. I don't worry about making mistakes. um Enjoy the process, because the process is the thing, you know, the glorifying and all that, that's no, it's the process of doing all this. And really, like, um just do it, just get the ball rolling, because what happens is that it keeps your curiosity going. You know, how does this work now? You know, a month ago, or so, I didn't even know how to use a Zoom. You know, so now I gave me an excuse to link up with somebody, and we're working on it, and we're working on, you know, so it's just continuously just build your curiosity and start learning more. And it's that first step, of course, like anything. It's that first step of just going there. You know, you can probably bomb whatever. If you listen to old episodes, now I'm there laughing, and but you're just moving, you're doing it, and you're doing it. And look at you, bro. I mean, look at Vario Voices. Now you got all these other ones, and now you're doing this, and I'm just like, wow. You know, and look at, I'm seeing Rosario, like, what the heck? You know, like, you got leaking up, like, you see how it just starts going. And by the time you know, it's like you're looking back like, damn, that was pretty cool, that was fun, you know. So the thing is that you're not gonna get to enjoy the ride if you don't, you know, start, you know. Just move ahead, and don't be embarrassed, ask people questions, you know, ask. And like I said, that's why it's really, especially now that it's not feeling like, you know, like this is a competitive thing, it's very great to ask somebody like, hey man, I don't know how to do this. And that's the beautiness of, and that's really actually a therapeutic thing for all of us, you know, that we are able to ask each other for help and be humble about it. And not only that, that's a beautiful way of communicating that I never had when I was smaller too. I understand, because out of, like, we don't communicate, you know, things happen, we stay quiet, and así es, you know, no hablamos, you know, we don't talk, we don't say nothing. So but there's new blood, new generation, and uh really woke about all that, you know, and knowing that they have the tools to learn how to communicate, to learn how to deal with things. I know mental health is one of the biggest issues, but dealing with it, I mean, I give props to a lot of you out there. Did I answer your question?
Muchas gracias, Rob. And it is actually a great blessing to be here with both of you, right? Because Arturo, I met through Instagram. I met both of you through Instagram, basically. Now we're sitting here having this conversation as people who are doing work in the community. And Arturo's now my colleague, and I would say even more than that, just like a bro, right? In this movement, in this creativity movement that we're doing, in this movement for human rights and liberation, right? And I would consider you the same way, right? Just like a fam in the movement. And so it's really, really cool to be here with you. And so for you, I guess as my final question, what does health and well-being mean for you?
What is what?
What does health and well-being mean for you? So if you can visualize your life and think about, in the next year, 2 years, however long, I want to structure my life in this way so that I have this inner peace, this health and well-being. What does that mean for you? What does that look like?
For me, it might be different, but I think um, it is that balance. It's that constant balance. It is that not beating yourself up. I think a lot of people stress out so much because they want to do stuff, and they are not, they, you know, or they have something, and this anxiety kicks in, and all these things. I think um, it's just really, really trying to balance, and that's the biggest word for me, is balance. Right now, I'm relaxing. This is actually my therapy right here, just talking to you, both of you. You know, and um, I think that's it for me, that I can say is just balance. and really start, continue working on yourselves. I see people doing journals. I see people jogging. I see people dancing. I see people doing, do it, for some reason, I don't know if it's within our culture or something. We feel like I said, that people are looking at us, or people are, judging us, and people are, it's, and I will tell you this, I don't know how I made it this way, but I've had that feeling of like, me vale madre, like I don't care, like it's not in a bad way, but like, the point that like I feel more free right now. If I want to do some, like I said, to dance or do some quirky stuff and whatever, I'm gonna do it, and that's very freeing. That's very healthy. I noticed that before, when I was younger, I was a puro nervios, I was just angry for some reason. I was all this, but I felt that is because I was constantly constricted in my mind. And then just like slowly, just realizing, just enjoying life. And I think life also, gives you a lot of bumps, and more, you just enjoy life. And like, look at right now, you see all these bad things that are going on, and it just makes you appreciate life more. And yeah, just balance. Yeah. And have the case of the efforts. Epic. I'm gonna do it.
We
Me
appreciate you,
vale.
Rob. Yeah, right. Like I said earlier on too, like, he's talking to you también uplifts the spirits, because you do carry the energy of just like, let's do this, let's have fun with it. So we really appreciate you. Right before we start recording, Rosario and I were talking about some heaviness that we're feeling right being in the movimiento, right? All the baggage that we carry from others. But I feel like you as a role model, you as someone that we had in this podcast, you really go to uplift not just our spirits, but people that are tuning in just by hearing your voice and knowing who you are. They're definitely going to feed off that energy too. So we really appreciate your time, and you being on vacation and wanting to take some of your time from your vacation to be talking to us. So we really appreciate
No,
it,
like I
man.
said, I enjoy this, and I think knowing both of you, it just brings me more little comfort. So it's just like chatting with some friends and stuff. Before I go, I think one of the things I did want to leave off, within this whole movimiento that's going, and I see, I ask of everybody that's within the movement, to making changes, is really share your energy on I don't want to say keep it, positive, because that's, but at the same time, just be aware of your fellow person that's you're trying to encourage to make a movement. The only thing is, what I'm saying is that I see a lot of times that you do feel like you're trying to participate and you're trying to help, but at the same time, there's some words out there that it feels like you're being guilt tripped, or you're feeling constricted that you have to do this, and it's always this constant struggle of like, am I doing right? Is this the right thing? Like, only because Shane. So I think and that's what I've seen, groups getting together and they break apart because of that negativity. And but I think those that I've seen, that group together, that actually made a friendship, like literally going out doing yogas, doing these little pop-ups, just having these chats and just checking up on each other. Within that's very important. And not focus too much of like, hey, because you're not doing this, this is who you are now, type of deal. So just keep that in mind. I ask those, to, within this group, within that, to continue encourage each other, teaching. And one of the things that, please understand, like myself, I just left a message on the Talking Masa, is like, I haven't posted nothing because I'm listening and I'm learning, and I've been making some changes, and I've realized certain things within all of this Black Lives Matter movement. Really checking up on myself, really having those conversations with my daughter, really, doing the work in a sense. And it's just give that just understand people, like, for everybody, that give each other that space to, and that forgiveness of some people making those mistakes. Some of them, yeah, they're like, okay, ya te pasaste. But what I mean by that, what I mean is just that, like, for me, I'm from a different generation, and that generation, I realize that definitely needs to make that to break those old ways and stuff. And it's just the same way as that there's certain things that my father, them growing up, there's certain things that I did not inherit that anymore. Like that is not a good thing to do. So I know that, I'm aware with that. I don't inherit that. And then I'm able to try to, hopefully pass it down my daughter, and then, hopefully she betters herself. So it's just, it's changes, and I just, but it's a good thing. I really, really am happy with this I say generation. I feel like I'm like an old fart, but I just say that in the sake of that. I just see this, new group that I was like, man, I really, really wish I had all this support when I was young, and that's all I can do. Like, give the love and support, and whatever I can help out within my means. And that's what Masa is, just help out.
Muchas gracias, Rob, for saying that. And you may or may not be referring to just this cancel culture that there seems to be in the air, right? Where if we're not stepping in the right direction or saying the exact right phrase or words, or there's this inclination to, like, you're canceled, you're out, you're done, right? No matter how good you may be, right? And so it may
well,
be.
it's more the energy of, like, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to do this, and you need, and at the same time, I'm trying to figure out, like, what's going on, kind of a deal. And then I need to. So I think I've learned from people that are actually teaching, like, this is what Black Lives Matter means. This is what this is. So learning is more better than just, it feels like, this, I can't, that's just me.
Right.
But you can definitely correct me on that.
Right. Yes, I would agree that, I mean, we're all learning together, right? I think we all have something to teach and something to learn from, and it's a reciprocal relationship. And anybody, I would imagine anybody that's acting like they have all the answers and that they can never do wrong, that itself is an oppressive type of mechanism within this supposed system that we're trying to break down, right? And so we have to be really mindful of holding ourselves accountable. And so, but I would be remiss if I didn't touch upon this. I know we were going to end, but I did see you post something on the Talking Masa regarding, and I think it may be separate. It's like Black Lives Matter, but then we're also, how do we hold our Black family accountable, or just people in general accountable for the violence that happens, let's say, to street vendors? You were talking specifically about street vendors. And so I wanted to open it up a little bit to just kind of get your take on that. If you have anything else, I just kind of gave like the short of it, right? But I just wanted to kind of give it back to you.
Yeah, I think what it is just that it was more the fact that, and I think within that, like I said, at that time especially, there was this separation. I'm just seeing because I do have followers locally, and I do see, these response and these remarks, and I'm seeing that was just an issue that was bringing up of what was holding them back in order supporting the movement, in a sense. So the thing is that, and so for me, it was just like, before this happened, some paleteros got their butt kicked, and now there was this hate, and there's always that separation with the Black and brown, and it just seemed at that time, especially, like, in order to, we gotta kind of mend things. We gotta address certain situations in order to really have that unified. And it was something that already it's begun. It's done, and now it's really beautiful. Look at the Santa Cruz issue. This long line of people supporting the ones that are selling the hot dogs. It's So the thing is that's why I said it's really beautiful to have this new generation that's making the change. I have great hope for this generation that are are doing. You know, they're walking and not just talking. And but that's it. It's just looking like, for me, I've always kind of, while all of this was happening, even uh, while always something's happening, I always try to look everywhere. Like, right now I mentioned, like, also, like, the stock market. Keep an eye on the stock market, because we got to, while we're fighting, uh, these people are making a lot of money. People are profiting off of this. We're seeing, we're like, Johnson and Johnson's got a couple of billions of dollars. And so my thing is that it just, I'm always keeping through, and so if this is going on here, I'm kind of seeing no one that's looking around like, oh, dude, what's happening over here? Look at, and it's not much of a conspiracy kind of a deal, but it's just really just keeping focused uh, of what's going around. So that's the thing at that time, especially for the paleteros. I've seen that they were bringing that as a way of saying, nah, F these guys, F these guys. But we can only change so much. Some are stuck in their old ways, but I've always said, and I will leave this, is that ever since the Masa thing, I've always said we've always been in, I guess you could say, the war against the influence. And with this influence, that you're doing, with everybody that's making these movements, that's the greatest influence, supporting, because the youth are going to see this and they're going to inherit that. I grew up more of the, seeing, a bunch of gangsters, just growing up together, and that was the influence. It was that or sports. So now that everybody's kind of aware that, it's the incarceration, all that, it's time to better ourselves. And I want to give props to Milpas. I've been seeing the constant change in the awareness of that. Everybody's building each other up. I think that was one of the episodes that I seen, because it is, like I said, it's something that I feel like, realize, like, we gotta encourage each other. We gotta push each other up. But I think I'm just getting lost. I'm getting you know uh, sidetracked. But I give it up to all of you guys. Much love to all of you guys. I don't know what else to say. It just it's really great just to see this good change. And for those, I want to say this, and I hopefully this is not a bad thing. I when I came here, I had people, they talk, and they say stuff, and um I remember, seeing this milpa thing. I was in downtown, and Mr. Chismoso just walking around seeing whatever, and I hit up and I say, hey, what is this? And it had a bad reputation. And that's the thing that really I want people to see, is that um, don't assume things. Really go and see what's all about. And in any organization, really see what it is all about. Don't assume, don't listen to anybody, because now that I more and more I look into Milpa, even having that mentality of like, oh well, they have a bad reputation, but I'm seeing the people, what they're doing. I'm seeing all these actions doing, and I am really happy to say that, what, they're making the difference. And I give it props to all of you guys. And sorry if it's any offensive or it came out wrong, but I just wanted to share that, because like I said, uh, we can't assume anything. Do your research, and see how great and how awesome things, all the things that they've been doing. But much props to all of you. And yeah.
Muchas gracias, Rob. And I'll pass it
Yeah.
to Arturo, and I'll end it with this. Muchas gracias for your time and for your energy. And I think in general, we're in this movement together, whoever we are,
Yeah.
however we identify. I think it's ultimately seeing that this system is affecting all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Primarily poor, Black, Indigenous, people of color, young
Mm-hmm.
people, LGBTIQ people, right? And so I think it's really important to see it from that perspective. And generally, I would say that, and take it with a grain of salt, because Milpa pays me, right? But at the same time, I would say I'm from Hayward, And I said from day one, I would like to see myself however much I can as a third-party objective observer, if that's possible, even though MILPA pays me, right? But at the same time, you have a point in the sense of people doing their research, because MILPA is an organization that is challenging severely the status quo without mercy. And of course, the system's going to have a problem with that. Law enforcement's going to have a problem with that. And we do it out of the love of not wanting other youth to get caught up in the system. Youth don't belong in prison. We already have a lot of colleagues that have been imprisoned. So why do we need more of that? There's only trauma to be gotten from that. And so I think that's ultimately why MILPA does the work that it does, is just letting people know of, we need to end mass incarceration. We need to end the school to prison pipeline. We need to make sure that we give people, everyday people, the tools to be able to use their voice. And so I will end it there. And anybody that has questions, reach out to me, talk to Arturo, talk to us, like make your, the mainstream media is never gonna cover us, I don't think, in a favorable way. And so it is always really key to do your research and to think for yourself. So,
but that's why it's really great of what I've said, like if nobody's going to do it, we can do it ourselves in a sense. And it's great because now we don't need you, bud. Like we don't need you, media. Like we got our people, like we're spreading the word. So that's the thing, is that we don't have to rely on nobody, in the sense that if nobody's going to do it, then, you know what I mean? I'll do it myself. Shit. And I think that's what I've learned is,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's just it's a great example of that. That's why, there's going to be mistakes, there's going to be things, but you guys are doing it, and much props to all of you. But yeah, I'm done.
I'll yield my time. I keep talking, and I want to give the space to Arturo. But thank you so much. And that's why it's important. We'll loop it back to you. That's why you're so important. That's why your existence is so important. What you do is so important, is that you're highlighting the people that need to be highlighted. So thank you for the work.
Yeah, the last thing I want to know is that in the beginning I mentioned you as a news reporter, right? Because definitely, like, it's a space for, like, how you said, we don't need the big media no more. We're taking it upon ourselves to really capture the real stories of our own communities, our own esta cultura, right? So I appreciate you for doing that, and also doing your research también, not being quickly persuaded by what the news is covering, right? All this hate or anything like that, but more like looking at the long run, right? We've been with our black and brown brothers and sisters, in that same fight for a long time. You know what I mean? So always analyzing that, how long we've been together in this lucha, right? And not letting one quick little news report take all that down, not taking all that foundation away. And so we continue building up, we continue making our communities better and so on. And I really appreciate both of y'all and everybody that's tuning in for having that corazón for a better future too. So with that, I really appreciate everybody for tuning in, and just know that there'll be more content coming your way. But that's all.